Welcome back to Opinions on Everything. I'm Forbes. I'm here with my wife, finally, Courtney. She's here to join us for the first time, and she already kicked the table. So that's that. And then we got Keith, as always, and his wife, Anna. They're joining us. So we're here, and we're going to have some good conversations today. And I think it's good because we finally have the full group, where the first topic of the day is friendship. And it's one I've been wanting to talk about with these people because I think friendship is a really interesting topic. My point being, Keith Sims and I... Sorry for saying your last name. Keith and I have been best friends our whole lives. We grew up next to each other, and so our friendship has been 23, 24 years at this point. So that's great. But then Anna came into the picture. You know, she started dating Keith in high school, and they got married, and they're great and close. And so now I'm close with Anna, and we're friends. And now Courtney came into the picture. I started dating her, and I married her. And so what's interesting to me is the way we all connected. We only know Anna and Courtney because of the fact that me and Keith brought them in, right? But yet now we're all close friends. So would Anna and Courtney have ever met? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. Different ages. And would Keith and Courtney ever know each other? Probably not. It's just sort of an interesting thing. And I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on friendship, how it works, and what it means.
Well, I did know Courtney from the church youth group that we were in.
But you wouldn't have even been there. Or Forbes wouldn't have even been there if you wouldn't have invited him, right?
That is true.
So,
That's true.
So
connections.
Yeah, so y'all wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for the church that me and Courtney were going to. So no, Forbes would be in this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he invited you.
Right. Sorry, I took too much credit.
And I just put myself in there because I don't want to be left out.
Right, that's fair.
You're right.
Y'all have anything to say about friendship? I mean, come on. What does it mean to be friends? I mean, is it really... My friend Paul, as I told you, he says friendship is proximity and convenience. Are we only friends with each other because it's convenient and we live close to each other and we have these built relationships already and these are just connections? Or do we actually like each other and want to invest in each other's lives?
I think me and you, Forbes, have friendship because of the built memories that we have together. And somewhat convenience because there's time in college where we didn't talk for a solid 3-4 months.
Yeah.
And was that just because of proximity? We were 45 minutes away, which is still relatively close. But yeah, we didn't talk. But that being said, every time that we did talk, it wasn't like we weren't friends. Or I didn't feel like that we had lost any steps. We'd gone throw a frisbee and still had the same interests. Did
we become friends only because of proximity, though? We were neighbors. That's pretty much
place?
The only way we met.
Yeah, you're right. It may have just been being neighbors because you were into milk and reading books, and I was
into sports and allergies.
Sports and allergies. So yeah,
those were your interests.
You're right. Who knows? But maybe it was because of forced interest that we had because we were both into baseball because our parents made us into baseball.
That's true.
So that is definitely something to think of. And now
I think your friendships can only start out of proximity.
Yeah.
Because how would you be friends with someone if you weren't put in a situation where you met them?
Sure. Even online friends you could meet. You could say proximity is being online in the same game or whatever it is.
So maybe that's not really the question. I just think it's probably you have to be intentional about the friends that you have that don't live close to you anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
Or else you probably won't be close friends anymore.
And I know I've beaten this quote to death with people in this room, but C.S. Lewis, his famous quote, one of his famous quotes, was the moment a friendship is made is the moment that the two people say, oh, I didn't know you like that, me too. It's kind of like that shared interest. So I don't think that in C.S. Lewis' mind, who we all I think see as a very
wise
intellectual person, it's the connection, it's the shared interest. It's the me too. I have that interest. We can share a life. Because I've made friends in the past year simply because they're into healthy eating and healthy food and producing good food for communities. Mm-hmm. So I have that shared interest, and I would never have been friends with them. I don't live close to them. Some of them live in Atlanta. I met at a conference. So who knows?
How many of our friends are not even friends anymore, as we've talked about? Courtney, I mean, I'm sure you have friends from your past that you're not really close to anymore. Not to call out any names, but it's just simply where you are in your life, right?
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think that we sometimes use the word friend as just someone that you're currently involved with and talking to and a part of their life. But I think that I do have plenty of people in my life that I would still consider a friend because they were there when I needed them in that part of my life. It's not that we're best friends right now, but I wouldn't just write them off as a friend. Like, these friendships didn't all end in a bad way, or we didn't part ways because of anything negative that happened, just because we moved on with our lives, but I would still consider them a friend. So.
Yeah. Courtney and I were talking about this the other day with, I think, something that we read on Riverflow Yoga's blog or website or something.
Sponsor.
About, yeah, we're not being paid to say any of this. How, I think it was Riverflow, I'm not sure, where someone was talking about we need to be more comfortable with the idea of things dying and just death in general, and that it's a normal thing, and that not necessarily a person dies, but things die in our lives. We have seasons for things. We have seasons for friendships. We have seasons for jobs and phases of life, and some things just die, and that's okay. And I think that with our friends, some of our friendships do kind of die in a way. It doesn't mean they died in a bad way, but we're just not in a season where we're connected with them anymore. And sometimes I have these waves of regret where I'm like, man, I had all these friends and I feel like I don't reach out to them anymore, and they're all, scattered around. Should I be reaching out to them? And I just kind of realized I don't need to do that anymore, unless I think it's just, I'm at this point where I have a few really close friends, and it's pretty much y'all. My family takes up 10 slots between all of our family that I consider my friends, and then a couple others that you just have to be intentional about keeping up with them. But some of those friendships that I were really close to, some people in high school or even college, and I'm not anymore, and that's okay. It just kind of had to fizzle out because it served the purpose in my life when I needed it, and now it's not needed anymore.
As Kylo Ren said in Star Wars The Last Jedi, you got to let the past die. Kill it if you have to. So I think that's pretty much what you're saying.
Right.
Kill your friends.
Just
but,
kill them all. I never needed them anyway.
Yeah, they're useless.
At that same speed, I think it's important to let friendships die, but you always have to have a community. So I think as some friendships die, others have to begin.
And that was part of that I didn't really tie that together well, was that when you let things die, you do create space for new things.
Yeah. You think of every season of growing vegetables as my new lifestyle has portrayed. You gotta kill the last year's crop to plant the cover crop just so you can get another crop. So,
and that's a farmer's wisdom right there.
Farmer's wisdom, right? I don't know. Has anyone in this room read Brene Brown?
No.
Do you know who Brene Brown is?
Never heard of it.
She's kind of a sociologist, anthropologist. She studies human behavior. But she is best friends with Oprah. Shout out to Oprah.
You get a car.
Yeah, you get a car. You get a car. So, but she's very influential in studying breakthrough human traits. But she in her book, Braving the Wilderness, said that the only thing, probably the most deadly condition or disease that we can have is loneliness. She portrayed loneliness as being more of a killer than diabetes, smoking, or alcohol abuse, saying that 40% of people who claim that they're lonely die an early death due to lack of community. So I think that friendship is proximity based. I think it's interest based, but I think it is very necessary in that when you don't have friendship, it is a detriment. And I think our bodies are evolutionarily created to have friendship and kinship. And it is a must, and saying that you don't need friendship or community is like denying that you're hungry or denying that you're thirsty. No one in the right mind would say, I'm not hungry, I'm not thirsty. But some people do say that they're not lonely. And I think that, just like everybody needs that hunger, that thirst, they also need that bond of friendship.
Yeah, definitely. Courtney, you got anything you want to add about friendship?
I love my friends.
Me too.
Yeah. It's not the quantity of friends, it's the quality of friends. As our late night at Chick-fil-A the other day, where we were scarfing down milkshakes and chocolate chip cookies.
Mediocre cookies.
Mediocre.
Shout out to mediocre Chick-fil-A cookies.
They aren't always
Bad press.
Yeah.
That's the thing of bad press. But yeah, as our late night said, it's not the quantity of friends, it's the quality of friends. And the past 3 nights I've hung out with 3 people, and they're all in this room right now. So, it's the quality, not the quantity.
Well, what's nice about friendship is sometimes you get to do things together. And yesterday, we all went to see the movie Black Panther.
Yeah.
And that's going to jump into our next topic. Courtney wanted to talk about Black Panther. And I don't know if she has any questions or if she just wants me to lead the discussion. But, yeah. So, first off, let's get everybody's review. Not everybody's seen every Marvel movie, so we're not going to do a ranking. But I just want to know, did you like the movie? Where does it stand in your mind compared to other movies you've seen?
8.5.
8.5. Hit me with why.
The reason why it's an 8.5 is because it's a great villain. It's a great plot. It's a different plot. I think it's very empowering.
Very much.
The only bit that I was really frustrated I didn't see was they didn't show the people more of Wakanda.
Wakanda.
I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
anything. They didn't show as much the culture, which I guess the culture of Africa, but I wish that they had separated it more. I wish that they had gone more into the arms dealing of weapons. Kind of like the Star Wars did with their most recent movie, The Last Jedi, but Star Wars did it in a very, very not so subtle tone,
very
as
obvious
Forrest
way.
said. But they had the platform. Like, the entire movie was about arms dealing.
Sure.
Like Lockheed Martin, the biggest arms dealer in the world, how that they are essentially selling to America and Russia to kill each other, but they're the ones profiting. Lockheed Martin, bad press.
Sponsor.
Yeah. But I think that they could have done a better job of saying how that is not a good practice. Any arms dealing is not good arms dealing, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And then the biggest thing about that movie is I wish that they had given the uncle more of a role and why he had the thoughts that he had. All you see him is at the beginning of the movie and then once in the middle of the movie in a flashback.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that they had given him more of an instrumental role and that the son had just taken his father's wisdom and gone a wrong route with it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that they emphasized that enough because I really felt like the villain was a good guy.
Yeah.
Just taken in a wrong way, just like a lot of people in our nation have been. They're good people with good hearts. Shout out to John Mayer. It's a John Mayer song.
Gosh.
But they
We
just
got a lot of shout outs in this podcast.
But
Just hold on, Ivy.
but they just they haven't been given what other people have been given, and their sense of reality is warped. So that's my overview of why it was not a 9.5 but an 8.5.
Fascinating. Anna?
I actually gave it a 10
Woo!
right when we walked out.
Whoa.
But then Keith told me what he said in the car on the way home. I was like, yeah, that's a really good point. So I would say maybe a 9 because I really do. I didn't realize that was a missing piece for me until Keith said it. And I remember thinking that that I didn't really understand what the uncle was trying to do exactly in the very beginning. Like in the robbery scene, I wasn't sure what was going on exactly, and you just don't get a lot of backstory about him, and it doesn't develop the villain's character as well. It kind of...
And that's what I told Courtney. He just didn't have enough screen time.
Yeah.
He was very well done. I thought
Yeah.
Courtney disagrees. We'll get to that. But we thought he was a good villain in terms of his goals and his ambition and where it comes from, but he didn't get enough to flesh it out.
Yeah. I thought the substance was there. It just wasn't expounded upon.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't. It was just still a bud on the stem. It wasn't a flower.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I loved the music and the colors and the costumes and everything about it was so powerful, and I got chills, and the women warriors and just seeing...
They were dope.
I mean, it was just such a powerful movie. It's kind of sad that it's taken, I feel like, this long for an pretty much all African American movie.
Black cast, black
Marvel
director,
movie.
and a
it's
mainstream
sad that
blockbuster. It's huge.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And I thought it was fantastic.
And they did a shout out to vegetarians in the middle of there. And I gotta say, that was probably my favorite part.
He said, we don't eat meat.
Like, clearly you do.
Yeah, you're huge. yeah, look at our scrawny vegan friends here.
Yeah.
Aw.
They're twigs.
Courtney?
So I gave it a 9.5.
Yeah.
Usually I rate movies pretty high anyways.
Yeah.
Me too. I never see what's wrong until Keith comes back and I'm like,
really? But so I took my 0.5 off from the 10 because I was a bit underwhelmed with Michael B. Jordan.
because you were excited about him.
I was.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought
great
that
actor.
he really didn't have to act at all. I felt like he was completely being himself. Like I just found the arrogance just very easy for him to put on, and just even like his walk that Forbes was
It's a cool
talking
walk.
about
And
the
a cool
music
hairstyle.
behind
God, I love the hair. She thought it was stupid. I thought it was the coolest hair.
Could you be any cooler?
Is
Yeah.
it like Shumpert?
Yeah, the trench coat, and he had all his like abs and muscles popping out. I was like, yes.
Dang.
I look like such a loser after I watched that movie.
That's what I said. I said I wish I could take some of this, but I can't. It's
Go
not my
lift some
culture.
Teddy bears real quick and get some muscle.
Alright, SpongeBob.
But unlike Keith, I thought that the culture was portrayed really well. I thought that they just put together what it means to be a part of like an African village in a sense, even though this is more like a city. I just thought they portrayed it really well, and that even though now I know the waterfall scene was CGI, I thought it was really accurate, that they really just showed true Africa, and I really appreciated that.
Now, you've been to Africa, of course.
I've
so
been to Africa.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
That's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to actually have raised my rating twice now, I think. I started at 9, then I did 9.2, and now I'm at 9.5.
Yesterday in the theater, I thought you said it was at 8 something. Didn't
Yeah, maybe so. I've raised
you were
it at least.
9.2.
So it's gone up, is what I'm saying.
There's
It has
okay.
lingered, and I have thought a lot about it. I thought the culture was great, like Courtney said. I thought it was a little too easy, but also appropriate by having the tribes. So, like, the big fight scene at the end, you could tell who the good guys and bad guys were because they're color-coded by their tribes. Like, the blue ones are the angry ones who are on their side, and red ones are the girl warriors who are over there. So that was cool. I thought the villain...
Wait, why do you mean it was easier?
It just is almost too convenient. In a good action scene, you know who the good guys and the bad guys are, but this was like, you didn't really get to develop these tribes, so what's the best way so you can track it? Here's red team and blue team, right?
Capes and spears.
Yeah.
Red and blue.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay.
But I thought it was good. I thought it worked out. I thought the villain was great. I thought his reasons were fine, which we'll get into in a second. I thought his reasoning behind it was admirable, just sort of hard for us as white people to take, right? We'll get to that. I thought it was really empowering, and like I was saying, I wish I could steal some of it. Like, the cross the arms, the motion. That's so cool. Every time I did that, I was like, man, that's powerful. I get
And
chills. The dances, yeah. There's just all that culture, but that's cultural appropriation. I don't want to get into that. That's not for us. But I thought it was a really good movie. I thought Black Panther actor Chadwick Boseman did a great job in the role. Every time he talked, I thought he had wisdom and charisma and confidence as a king, and I thought that was good. I thought he didn't come off as like a spoiled brat kid. He came off as like, I'm taking on the throne, and he wanted wisdom and advice from his father and everybody, but he was ready to lead, and he was ready to be the best for his country, and I just thought it was a really good movie.
I loved the scene. I cried when he went up to heaven or wherever he was to see and was talking with his dad, and he said, I'm not ready. And he was like, no, you're ready. You've been training your whole life. And he was like, no, I'm not ready for you to not be with me yet. And I was like, I just cried because I thought it was so sweet how much he loved his dad and what a good king he was. And that's not a big spoiler, but
No.
I don't
you
think
have to know the king.
for something like that, I don't think you're ever ready to be king. I think that's part of the thing that makes you ready to be king.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
the fact that you feel overwhelmed. Because who's ever ready to lead that many people?
Just Donald.
Yeah. Just Donald. You're right. Donald, Mussolini. I shouldn't.
No.
Okay. Sorry. My bad.
Nope.
My bad.
Patriot Act.
There.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's just I think that's part of what made him ready is the humility that he had, and you could tell that he had humility on the screen. You could tell that the villain was misunderstood, and he was acting out of a good place in his heart to save hundreds of people who were neglected. And I thought so many times, like, There are people in Peru where I was who didn't have clean water. I've been to Peru and people didn't have clean water. Why didn't this tribe just go take like one little bit of valerian? What's the metal called?
Well, now I'm blanking on it.
Plutonium. Not plutonium. But they. Why didn't you just take that there and you could purify their water and not really tell anybody? I don't know. It's just but that's a plot hole.
I have a question.
That's
for you
nitpicky.
guys.
Vibranium.
Yeah. I said Valyrian.
Yeah.
Like Valyrian steel. Game of Thrones.
Yeah. So, I wanted to know y'all's opinion on why do you think do you think it was appropriate that the prince, who ends up being the king in the end, whatever his name is, I can't remember, the Black Panther,
T'Challa.
do you think it was appropriate that he was so upset at his dad for killing his uncle?
No. I was frustrated by it.
I was too.
But I was also frustrated by the fact that his dad killed the brother. He had a bulletproof chest thing, just get in front of him instead of stabbing his brother. You know, like, I understand he attacked and all that, and he was protecting his friend, but you don't have to kill the guy, you know. You just block him and then take him into custody.
I didn't know he had that vest on.
Yeah, because he had the full Black Panther outfit on in that
you're
scene.
right.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of a loophole, plot hole, but it's alright.
He pulled his gun on the king. That's an act of
Treason. And
he was defending himself and his friend. So
I was frustrated that he was angry as he was at his dad for it.
I was too. I got that he was frustrated that kid was left behind,
Right.
which was totally right.
Valid.
But
Yeah.
I was thinking if I was in his shoes, I was like, if
It's an awkward thing.
if my sibling had threatened to kill my best friend over, and we were standing right there, I mean, I don't want to say that I'd kill my sibling, but I also wouldn't want them to kill my best friend either, or the person that's been by my side the whole time.
Agree.
I don't know. I just thought that was a really strong reaction for that. And I was curious if y'all felt the same way.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And so my question I wanted to get into, now that we talked about the review, and this may get into spoilers, I don't know. I wanted to talk about, we are 4 very white people, right? And this movie is, I said when we left, not for us. I feel weird liking this movie as much as I did. I don't feel like it's my place to like it as much as I did. The villain's motivations were essentially overthrow white people, right? His thought was, we have these weapons, and people of color have been oppressed and put down all this time, and so let's help them overthrow and take back their lives. And that's admirable. That's a good goal. But we are white people. We would be the people losing in this scenario. And so I felt weird thinking about how much I liked the culture of this movie and how much I wanted to be a part of the world, and just that sort of thought. Did y'all have anything like that when you left? Any sort of, not guilt almost, but just sort of odd feeling that this isn't for me. I wasn't meant to be the target audience for this.
Right.
And it was unique. I feel like maybe they feel that way all the time, right? Maybe that's why this movie is such a big deal. Because I didn't feel that with Wonder Woman. I didn't feel like, hey, women are finally getting their place. I feel like women have plenty of movies. I'm saying this was like a moment. And the women were awesome in this movie, by the way. Shout out to the women in Black Panther. But for people of color, this really was a big deal, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I felt guilty that I think that we have suppressed a lot of African and third world countries into not being a great city like this. Not like a city made out of a fictional metal, but a city that can thrive and that we've colonized and we've...
Yeah.
When I say we, I mean the powers to be in these predominantly white nations of Europe, America, whatever the nation is, that has kind of suppressed these places into being just a facility where you can take their natural resources and come back. But this nation of Waganda saw that they had a natural resource, and
That's not how you say it, I don't think.
It's Wakanda, but
Wakanda?
It's okay. Yeah.
Wakanda. They saw
So
that
we correct you on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. But they saw that they had the natural resource and they were able to develop themselves. This is what they are. I felt guilty that maybe we as descendants of white Caucasian Europeans have suppressed that out of Africa, and maybe Africa would be better without us.
Maybe so.
So that was the take I took on why I felt bad, because I was like, this is a beautiful city. It looks to be environmentally friendly. There are trees on every building. I'm just like, wow, I want to be there.
Yeah, it was a really well fleshed out world, I thought, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's y'all two. Anything?
I didn't necessarily feel guilty leaving, but I just had a lot of respect for the movie itself, that we are finally at a point where this could happen.
And it's been a huge success by
right.
all measures. It's
Yeah.
critically and commercially a huge hit.
It's just really nice that this is finally something that's just completely okay and normal. And I don't know. I just was thinking about, like, if somehow 70 years ago something like this had come out, what a huge deal it would have been that there were, it was predominantly black cast and director, like you said, that it just would have been the end of the world. And I just think it's really cool that we are at this point now. But
Yeah.
it took very long,
It really did.
really long time. But
Yeah.
So I want to get y'all's feedback finally on this movie, and then we can move on. Which side do you think is right? Obviously, the way the villain was going, his path and his methods weren't right. But do you think Wakanda should remain isolated in the way they were to protect their own culture and society, or do you think they should try to expand and share their technology and culture and success with the rest of the world, essentially? Because those were the two sort of viewpoints, right? Isolationism versus expansion.
Luckily, I have a boss that is really forward thinking and awesome and wonderful.
Shout out to bosses.
Yeah. And she has said this to us before. I think when you have the resources and the power to do something and you don't do it, I think that's a shame, you know? And when we have, and that's their story. I mean, they have the resources. It's just a matter of safety and exploitation potentially, and being exposed basically for who they are. But I think I'd rather run the risk of being exploited or being unsafe than to have not taken a chance to have helped somebody else. And I think it's more dangerous, but if you have it, I think you should share it and try to help.
The famous Spider-Man quote, right? Great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
With great resources comes great responsibility. Watch
Yeah.
y'all. Courtney, Keith?
They, I take the stance of how the movie ended, with the main character being on stage at the UN council and saying, we are going to use our technology to help and our breakthroughs to help the rest of the world because the world needs help. And then I think someone from France, the diplomat from France, said, quite frankly, what can you offer us?
You farmers. You're pig
Yeah.
farmers, I think they said, or
Yeah.
whatever they were.
And then he smiles, like, you underestimate us, but we're going to make a difference. I take the side that arming the world isn't going to help anything.
No.
But giving the world innovation will. Giving the world use for clean water or civil I don't know how to word it, but giving people the opportunity to help themselves is good. I think that was a stance that the king of Wakanda was taking, that we are going to help these poor nations all around the world be able to support themselves finally.
Yeah.
So I like the way it ended.
I did too.
I think that even though they decided to go ahead with helping out the rest of the world, I feel like was completely normal and appropriate and human for them to have the thought of, we should keep this to ourselves. This world is corrupt and bad, and why would we want to share this? You know, all
They're going
this
to try to
good
take
that we
advantage
have.
of us and all this. Yeah.
So I just thought that I liked that the movie acknowledged that, you know, it was okay that
It's a
they had
rational
those
fear.
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I keep swaying back and forth with God loves all his children. So you're one of his children, but the person in another nation that doesn't look anything like you is also his child. And we have to love them just as much as we love our brethren. I think that we're taught with a false identity of nationalism that doesn't really take part in Christianity, or
Shouldn't be a part of it. Yeah.
it shouldn't be a part of this. The fact that we love an American more than we love someone from Afghanistan is not valid.
No.
We should mourn the death of every Afghani just as much as we mourn the death of every American.
Agreed.
So I would, if I was I can't even say I would, was if, say my descendants came from somewhere in Africa, I would mourn the death of every person in Africa just as much as Wakanda. I think that's what the movie kind of ended on.
Yeah.
The humanity, they humanized everybody.
Yeah.
Even the people who dehumanized everybody else, they humanized them. It was a powerful thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So good movie, all in all.
Great
Very
movie.
empowering, needed to be made. I'm very happy it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what is also kind of cool about that movie? The tattoos that were on these people. You know, some of the markings. And I think that's really going to lead into our next topic, which is tattoos.
You think we need a giant lip ring that comes
Oh, that looks
my
so
God.
painful.
a foot out of our mouth?
So bad.
But the reason I want to talk about this with this group is myself and Keith do not have tattoos, and Anna and Courtney do have tattoos. I don't know how many on each.
versus boys.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to get y'all's thoughts on tattoos. I'm going to start with a quick quote from the Bible. Leviticus 19:28, which
The
says,
most boring book.
"You must not put tattoo marking upon yourselves."
That it?
Period. Yes, Old Testament. Anyway, let's go.
There's a new covenant with God.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
I know, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to throw that as a joke.
But it does say in the New Testament that you should not put any markings on your body except for the name of the Lord.
Mm.
So I think that the only tattoo that we should get on our body should be the word
Lord.
Lord, or the
Right.
Hebrew.
Walk by faith.
Yeah, walk
On your side.
Jesus.
Shout out to Kyle.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with tattoos as long as it doesn't make your brethren stumble. Then I don't see any problem. Tattoos have never caused a debate in my heart of good or evil, or made me want to do anything bad versus good. I don't have a problem with them. I think that you shouldn't drink alcohol in front of someone who's an alcoholic, and you shouldn't get a tattoo of something demonic or something that may be taken as demonic when someone may be struggling with that. So I think it's all in the eye of the beholder on whether it's good or evil.
Well, let's focus in on you for a second. Why don't you have one?
I don't have a tattoo because I have never felt the urge to have one. I think that it may be something like our friendship discussion. Proximity. No one in my family has ever had one.
Hope doesn't have one?
No, my sister and brother do. But it's kind of. No, I'm sorry. My parents didn't
Right.
have one. They kind
You're
of taught
upbringing.
not to. In a kind of don't get one. It's not really accepted, but it's not horrible. But my brother and sister rebelled and both got one.
Of
They
course.
really wanted one. And I've thought about a lot of really cool ones, but maybe I'm just too greedy with my money or too
Right.
frugal with my money, and I just don't want to get one because I see it as somewhat a waste of money. But I don't think it's a waste of money if it really means something to you, like your grandmother's name or your kid's
Or your
birthday.
wife's name.
or your wife's name or anything like that. I don't see anything wrong with it. I just don't have one just because I haven't really wanted one.
If you were to get one, what would it be?
I would get a line around my calf with a bicycle on it, riding around.
That's so great.
So it'd be like a bicycle riding forever around my calf.
No Legend of Zelda tattoo?
I've thought about getting a Triforce.
Yeah.
I've
On
thought
the
about it.
hand?
On my hand. And the symbol of courage.
Of course.
But no, I thought that the bicycle would be fun just because I love bicycling. I think it's freeing and it means a lot to me to be able to ride your bicycle with your own 2 feet and move yourself instead of being locked inside of a box.
Yeah.
And using animals that had millions of years ago to move me. I can move myself.
Anyway, Anna, now we're done with that nonsense. Talk about your tattoo situation.
I think some people feel really convicted about certain things, and I think that's totally fine. Some people really don't like tattoos, and I think that's totally okay and fine. It's just never something I felt strongly about. I just don't think it's an issue at all. I don't think there's a spiritual thing about it, really. I just don't. It doesn't faze me in that way. I consider it art. I've got, my mom has a tattoo sleeve down her arm and her back, and it's just this really beautiful mural of these stories throughout her life and these different journeys that she's been on, and this really cool hot air balloon and this myrtle branch from the book of Esther, and just all these different moments that she's blended together to tell this story, and I think it's beautiful, and I really love the ones that I have, and they are expensive, which is why I haven't really, and I haven't found anything yet that I want badly enough, you know. My sisters just got, they each got a tattoo of, it's these really pretty flowers that are all of our siblings' birth flowers that are blended together, and it's really pretty. So I think I'm going to get that sometime soon. I don't know how much it costs, but yeah, I like them. I get why some people don't, and that's fine, but I don't really, it doesn't faze me in any sort of wrong way.
Why do you think you got them originally? Do you think it was upbringing and that your mom had them and you thought they were cool and you just followed suit?
I think my mom probably had hers when I got mine. I'm not really sure. But growing up, my parents didn't have them. Like, my mom didn't get these until, over the last several years, but as a young kid, I didn't grow up around them. My dad didn't have them or anything like that. But the ones that I got were just because of something that really spoke to me at a time in my life, and I wanted to put it on my body. I guess I must have really liked it a lot. So.
And you have 4, 6? How many tattoos do you have?
Just 2.
2?
3. I'm sorry.
Cool. 3. And now we move on to the shame of the family. My wife, Courtney. I'm just kidding. What you got, Courtney? Tell us about it.
So I will say I have 2 tattoos. One of them was a complete mistake that I got at 16 because I was being a rebellious teenager. It's not on my foot. It's not an embarrassing tattoo or anything. Like, I don't necessarily regret what it says. I just felt like it's completely unnecessary and not relevant to my life or my journey at all. But really quick, I remember as a kid, no one in my family really had tattoos except my dad. He has this really creepy eye on his shoulder.
That's terrifying.
And he has my name, which I always thought was sweet, but I know, very weird. But he had this eye, and I always thought that's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, why would he put that on? And it's very faded black, so it's almost green looking. I don't know.
So that's why you got the one on your forehead?
My third eye. My yoga eye.
Just kidding. She doesn't have one.
No, I don't. Anyway, I just remember thinking that was the strangest thing. But then, as I got older, I realized, okay, a lot of people have tattoos. This isn't really that weird. Anyway, so the one on my foot was a complete mistake. But so I have another one on my arm that's lyrics from a Bethel song that Forbes showed me that I hated at first. And it has come to be probably my favorite Christian song. And so when I went to Africa, I roll from everyone. But
Not me.
the song just really meant a lot to me, and I was pretty homesick while I was there, and it just reminded me of home because Forbes had shown it to me, but also that that the Lord was still close to me there, in my own sadness, even though I was there to do good things and bring happiness to the people there, but that he was just really near to me. And so I ended up getting it in London after that with one of my friends. And so just the whole experience of getting it was really special to me. Why I chose to get it was just something that's still really close to my heart, and so I don't regret that one. But I probably will not get it anymore because my dear husband, Forbes, does not like them, and so I just respect him enough not to get them.
She's so sweet.
So sweet,
And the song is Pieces. Shout out to
Right,
Bethel
right.
and our girl Stephanie. She's awesome. It's a
the
good
best
song.
version there is.
I also don't have any tattoos. I have thought about it many times over the years because I think they look really cool, but I see no purpose and I see them as a waste of money. And so I will not get one, most likely, unless something really cool happens.
What will happen, Forbes?
I don't know, like Lord of the Rings asked me to be in a movie remake or something.
Right,
I
you'll have to
have to do it. That's about it.
Pretty good reasoning.
But, so that's cool. Thank y'all for sharing about tattoos. Some people get names tattooed on themselves. And, what about names is interesting, is middle names. Keith wanted to talk about middle names today.
So I have a problem with middle names. A huge problem with middle names.
What about people who go by that middle name?
They're too generic nowadays. Like, Courtney, I don't know your middle name. I have no idea.
You could probably guess.
It's generic.
Is it Hunter?
No. Well, it is. No.
Okay, it's not Hunter. That would have been her maiden name. Is it Nicole?
Yes.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know, every girl's name
But
is
it's
Nicole.
spelled very uniquely.
every middle girl for
Every middle girl.
every middle name for a girl is the same. Like, I had no idea what Courtney's middle name is. Literally had no idea. I just guessed it.
Yep,
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Anna's is Elizabeth, right? Yep.
Thank goodness.
I did
that's right.
know that one. That was
You should know that pretty well.
Now, hers is Nichole. Nichole. So that's kind of fun.
My mother was very young, everyone.
And foolish.
Chose this name for me.
She doesn't know how to spell.
No.
do any of us? But it's just funny that that there's just everyone's just like puts all their energy in the first name, and then this middle name just like blah.
See, your middle name is nice.
Mine is.
Mine's awesome.
My middle name is great, but everybody else like
I
it's
love
just
my
so
middle name.
generic.
Oh,
Like,
y'all
What's
two
your
with your
name?
generic
what's
names,
your
right?
mom's middle name? I'm guessing Catherine.
Kathleen.
Kathleen. It's about the same, right?
No, it's not.
That's
just-
cute.
First of all, Kathleen is a very classic name that I
Very
never
classic.
hear. And it's a family name. Elizabeth is a classic name that I don't hear a ton. I do hear it a lot. And it's my grandmother's name.
I know
I'm
like
just saying
4
that
Elizabeths.
everybody's middle name is either one of two things: Elizabeth or Nicole,
Yeah.
and it is
Those are the
incredible.
most
Or
important
Ann.
ones.
Or Ann.
Yeah.
And,
Or
like a
Lee,
double
if you're a
name.
guy. Lee is a very common middle name
Lee
for
is.
guys.
and now everybody's name is just Brooke. So I'm tired of that. But names, yeah.
Any Brooks are listening.
Let's all just
Sorry,
try to
Brooke.
get more
Creative with our middle
more
names.
creative. Yeah. And that was the rant that I wanted.
I mean, I personally go by my middle name, Forbes, which is a very
It's
unique
awesome.
name, and I think that's awesome.
But they basically made your first name generic.
Well, it's my
Okay.
grandfather's name, all right?
It only has one L.
You should.
Yeah, 1L, which is biblical, so.
They should have called you
Yeah.
Lubbock. Lubbock's such a cool name.
Lubbock's so cool, yeah.
Lubbock's really cool.
I don't know any
someone else
Lovex,
would have
though.
already stolen that.
I know.
Use it.
Well, we're never having a kid, so it doesn't matter.
Our
But-
hypothetical children.
Which are not real, ever.
Or never will be.
All right, guys.
Okay.
I don't want to referee this.
Yeah, so Forbes is a cool name, and my sister's middle name is Fane, and that's kind of weird and
Yeah.
fun.
let's-
So, I don't know, there's some cool middle names out there.
What's her first name?
Elizabeth.
Yeah, go figure.
Of course.
Isn't everybody's?
But the queen's name is Elizabeth, and I love the queen.
The queen is
That's
so
very
boring.
true. She's
What?
inspirational.
Like, great, I'm 98 years old, and no one cares.
You haven't watched
Chicken.
The Crown, have you?
I don't watch bad shows.
I tell him about it, Anna.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, most of
I
the
love
first
it.
season.
Well, let's transition into The Crown. What do y'all think about The Crown?
I told Forbes that I have stopped watching it recently because I am mad about the actual true history that it follows. It just annoys me. It's not what I want to happen, so I just cut it off.
Because I've heard it is pretty historically accurate.
Yes.
Is
I
that
have no
true?
idea. I've never watched
Yes,
it.
it is. I've read that.
I
too.
actually don't know much about history, which is a very,
Yeah.
very insecure,
It's
embarrassing
pretty
thing for
spot
me.
on.
It's alright.
So I don't know. So I was actually watching this, with no idea how it was really going to end because I don't know any of the history. But I love it. I love the queen. I love her poise.
Mm-hmm.
I love that she takes her role so seriously, and I find her sister Margaret so infuriating.
Mhm.
And I'm like, if you were in the role of queen, what would you do? There's so many situations where she comes to the queen and throws a hissy fit, and I'm like,
But can you blame her for being
Margaret or the
difficult? No, Margaret, because she's just a step beneath this all royal woman. And
no,
this-
because I think she puts that on herself. She projects. She makes herself out to be this black sheep of the family, and her sister loves her.
Yeah.
And she does this to herself, and I have a lot of words for this show when we watch it. Keith may be ready to break up with me, but I really feel intensely about the show. And when the king died,
it was
man, I was
heart-wrenching.
sad.
The
I
king
cried.
died?
Yes.
Spoilers!
Everybody dies.
Game of Thrones, too.
And just the queen's husband, don't you just think he's a sorry excuse for the
Oh.
husband?
What a turd!
And Margaret is
Isn't he Prince Philip or
scandalous.
something?
No, yes.
Yeah. Philip.
I love
He's
that name.
just very
He's
just
a spoiled
concerned
brat.
with his own self.
He's
Yeah.
all about himself. He's a spoiled
He's
brat.
not supportive
He
at all.
knew when he married her
Yeah.
that the role he was going to
The
be.
Duke
And you
of
see why I'm so
Windsor.
mad? Because it's true. He
What?
really is like this.
Is he really?
Yes, these are their true character traits.
Wow.
The way that they're portrayed in the show.
What a shame.
So y'all are really fired up right now. My question is why? Why do women, it seems mainly, care so much about this stupid British royal family? It has no impact on our lives. It has nothing to do with us. They have no power over there. They don't do anything. They're just freaking rich people.
They say
We're
that
jealous.
in the show. The Queen Mother talks about how they've been reduced to pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, they're figureheads.
And they're like, she says like we have the hardest job in the world.
Oh, please. They're like the vice president.
Just to be nothing.
They don't do anything.
Shout out to Hunter Pence.
It's not Hunter Pence. That's the baseball player. Mike Pence.
Mike Pence.
I was like, did we get a new vice?
Shout out to knowing about our government.
Yeah, they're both do just as much good for our government. Although I think Mike Pence is actually halfway decent.
Maybe.
Who knows? We have opinions about him, but
We got opinions on everything.
Well, it's not just this show. I'm like this with every show I watch. I get all riled up. When I watch Homeland, I have to call Ellen afterwards, my friend at work, and we talk about it. And when we lived with Mary Catherine, I watch it with her, so I was able to, have a session after, and we could talk through it. And
Do you care about the royal family, though? Do you care about this wedding? Did you care when Diane died?
Yes.
Diana, whatever her name
well,
was.
I cared when Princess Kate got married.
Why?
you stayed home from school.
I stayed home from school that day.
Why?
Because my mom's a rock star and she loved me.
But why?
And it's not like I know a lot about him. I didn't follow him or anything like that. I just wanted to watch it because it was so fun. It just seems so...
It seems like a different world.
Yeah, it just
Like,
seemed
you
like
just
something
can't-
I totally am not a part of. It was just... Which is how the show is. I mean, that's why people watched it. Is because that they're almost these just cool icons. And I wanted to be able to watch it that day and not miss that cool piece of history. So my mom let me stay home.
I mean, have you seen the wedding dress they wear?
That's what I'm saying. Is this just a big princess fantasy that
Oh,
girls have
yes.
from their childhood?
Completely
that they
for me,
want
it is. Not the royal
part of
family in
this?
general, the royal wedding. It's just...
That was just cool.
It's so cool.
It was.
It's just such a big ordeal that it's like, I got to watch this.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
It's very cool.
All right. Well, I think it's real
The
silly.
train goes the whole aisle of the church.
Why do we care?
It's beautiful.
Okay.
Because
And
it's
I'm
fun. It
connected to
distracts us
Princess
from
Diana.
our boring lives. That's
true.
what the Queen Mother says too. We're just peasants down here,
Just
wondering what it's
tie
like.
all your clothes together in a big train and pull it down an
All our
aisle.
clothes.
Who cares?
We got plenty of them.
Yeah, for real.
We both had lovely weddings, but we're
We
just
did.
saying it was cool to watch the royal
It
wedding.
really was.
Okay, anyway, so the reason I wanted to jump into The Crown, though, is because it's set in England, which, get this,
Your
our last-
transitions are
I'm
just
on it today,
point.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
what. So, we've been to London, Courtney, not together, but we've both been to London. Have y'all been to London?
No.
No.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Well,
Tell us about places you'd like
it
to travel.
nice?
How about that?
No, I didn't like it.
You didn't like London?
I like London a lot,
The
but
food was very boring.
might right up my alley.
It was the first, like... it
Yeah,
really
you
is.
you like boring food, so
It was the first
Rude.
big city I had been to, and even though I thought it was cool to be super touristy there, and of course it was going to be crowded because I was being a tourist and going to all the crowded places, I was just really overwhelmed by the amount of people. Like when they say New York City is crowded, I'm like, okay, whatever. But it really is. It's just crazy crowded. It's just overwhelming, and the food was bad.
It was also hot when you were there. And
was
being
so hot.
crowded
That's a game
in like
changer.
a big city and it's hot, that's miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
But
feet
I
get really
really
hot and swollen.
appreciate their subway system.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's really
Public
genius.
transportation in pretty much every
Yeah.
other country.
And it's
great,
so
right?
fast, just the little card that you use, just swipe and go. It doesn't even delay. Like,
Yep.
you're in. Really nice.
Wish we had that.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is we could go through our list. We each wrote down 5 places we would like to go in
Or
our
7.
lives that we haven't been. Some of us have more than 5?
Mhm.
Okay. Would we like to go one at a time and go around the circle, or just knock out your entire list at once?
I say we each go around, say a short summary of it, or a short blurb about why.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with number 5.
Well, let's start with people who have more than 5.
Oh,
Get
yeah,
those
yeah,
out of the
yeah.
way. Do you have more than 5?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you follow the rules. So, Courtney, you give us your last 2. How about that?
Okay, it was Turks and Caicos because I'm a basic white girl and I love the beach.
Yeah.
And I've just heard wonderful things about the sand and how clear the water is. We went to St. Lucia for our honeymoon and I was underwhelmed by the lack of blueness of the water.
Shots fired. I paid a lot for that.
Yes, we did. But I just didn't think that it was this Caribbean island that I was really
You picked it.
hoping it would be. Right, okay. Anyway, moving on before I get in trouble.
Yeah.
And then I said New York, and I didn't really specify New York City or like upstate New York, but I'm gonna go with upstate New York.
Ooh,
'cause I've heard
stick it to the city.
Yeah. Yeah, and if I didn't like London, I'm really not gonna like New York City
No.
other than Broadway.
Yeah. What's in upstate that you want to see? Just pretty country?
Yeah, I think it's cool that this city that's, one of the busiest in the world is in the same state as this beautiful, like, mountains and rivers, and I'm imagining, like, green pastures.
I don't know. Never been.
Me either. Lots of snow, maybe.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Keith, would you like to start us up?
Wait,
Number
why
5?
don't we get to hear others?
We're going to go 5,
I
around
see.
the circle.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
It's 5 and a little blurb.
All right.
All right, so my number 5 was Tanzania. I don't know if anybody knows about Tanzania, but it's in the East African Rift Valley, and I took a course in college, evolution, and we studied a lot about the creation of Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, and all that, and the cradle of humanity, or the birthplace of humanity, is supposedly, if you believe in, or if you, I wouldn't even say believe in, if you study evolution, then you know that it's in the East African Rift Valley, and there's a lot of cool sites to learn about there, and it's beautiful, beautiful nature, and I feel like that's a very authentic place to be, to live, to study, to learn, and I feel like I could get a lot out of life by just going to the birthplace of humanity.
Yeah, that's
Question.
cool.
Shoot.
I've heard they're about 98.5% Muslim, and that most white people don't. Like, they travel there mostly underground and not above ground where you even get to enjoy the pretty. So that's kind of a letdown.
I think that's
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
part of the
experience,
yeah,
right?
He just wants to dodge around some Muslims, you know?
Yeah. If I have enough faith, I won't be
That's
hurt.
true. And
But then again,
just pray once.
God's son died on the cross in a painful death, so
Maybe you should too.
maybe I should too.
So noble.
So, yeah.
All right, Anna, hit us number 5.
Oh, I didn't do these in order.
That's all right. Just pick one.
Greece.
Greece. Tell us about why.
Because I've just seen pictures of how beautiful the white buildings are and the water, and
Their bankruptcy.
their bankruptcy, and it just for no other reason than wanting to see the landscape because the pictures I've seen are beautiful.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. I'd like to go too.
Okay, we can all go.
Good pick. Courtney, number 5.
Again? Egypt.
Egypt.
Yes, I think I might have spelt it wrong.
Spell it.
EGYPT.
Yep, nailed
Okay.
it.
I'm learning. A lot of mine are for the history of it. I just feel like there's a lot to be learned. Like, sure, we learn in like history books and stuff we see online that Egypt's got, pyramids and King Tut, but I feel like there's a lot more that I have no idea about, and I'd like to see it firsthand.
Yeah, see where the aliens built the pyramids and
Right. Yes.
that would be powerful.
Yeah.
See extraterrestrial life.
And
They still live in
camels.
the pyramid. Camels are scary. First off.
You could ride a camel.
Did y'all know camels are indigenous to America?
No.
No, I can't say I'd even believe you.
No, I just lied.
That doesn't sound right.
Okay, Forbes.
Yeah, my number 5 is the redwoods, the redwood forests over on the west coast. It looks really beautiful.
I do love California.
The Planet of the Apes was cool because it was
Right
in there,
over
a little misleading in its location, but that's all right. And it just looks really like a really awesome place because these trees have been there untouched by humans for the most part until we start touching them.
Right.
But they're really, really big trees, and that means they've been there for a long time. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
See history in a natural sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my pick.
I gotta say, redwood was one of the ones that I wanted, but the cool thing about my next 3 actually are that they're the same. Me and Anna have the next same 3 that we want to go see.
Wow,
I
y'all are
wonder
so
if I
insane.
match up to any of the ones
So,
that you
Anna,
said.
So y'all both talk about it together.
On 3, 2, 1, say your number 4. 3, 2, 1. Glacier National Park.
Wow, y'all
Told
are
you.
like married
I
or
just
something.
know Anna so well.
I just
You
want
picked
to
that one
throw
for her.
up. That's for sure.
Glacier National Park in Yellowstone, and I can throw the
Yeah.
redwoods. Make a big week out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That-
In
that-
a camper van.
They're not even close to close.
No.
Redwoods and all that. But Glacier and Yellowstone are close enough.
Yeah.
I think that wilderness hiking, exploring, being one with nature is just something that would be really fun.
Yeah, definitely would.
There's Yellowstone, and there's a biking tour during the spring that you can do. You can bike through Yellowstone, and it's dangerous. It's fun, and it's you got to be aware of nature.
You lost me at dangerous, but I'm in besides that.
So I think is there anything else you want to say about Glacier and Yellowstone?
I've been to Glacier National Park, which is why I want to go back.
Are you serious?
I went with my mom and sisters and Rob, and it was magical. It was so beautiful. It looked like something out of The Sound of Music, and that scene at the end where she's like swirling around,
like really film grainy,
so funny.
hard to watch because it's old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
and
the best movie
it was
ever.
just so pretty. So we were gonna save up and go this year, but now we can't. But with Keith's new job, but we're gonna try again.
Thanks a
next
lot,
year.
poor people,
Jeez.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Farmer.
ruining trips. Courtney,
Italy.
anywhere in
Most-
specific?
No.
Just Italy, the whole country.
Yeah, the whole
We're gonna
country.
go see
I'd
it
like
all.
to be there all at the same time.
Cool.
I really love Italian food.
Same.
And yeah, but I just think it looks. I don't necessarily drink wine, but I think that the idea of vineyards and how wine is made is really cool. So I would like to see a really authentic process in
Mhm.
Italy while I'm trying some cheese. You know,
Yeah.
my husband
I don't like
who won't
cheese.
eat cheese or wine.
Yeah, it's true. But I
will you
love
eat
Italy.
Crackers?
Yeah, depending on which
You eat
one.
pizza.
Yeah, I love pizza,
So,
and I love
yeah.
Alfredo pasta.
So you'll be good.
Yeah, I love Italian food.
Yeah, I want to try some real Italian pizza.
Unfortunately, I've been to Italy, but I would love to go back with
Me
you.
too.
So,
Right.
I really want to go to Napoli, Naples. Go see. I'm sorry, the soccer team Napoli.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So I just couldn't stop thinking about soccer. But I want to see Napoli play Juventus in soccer. That's one on my bucket list.
Okay, yeah.
Four?
And Courtney, what were you gonna say? You had your hand raised. Okay, yeah. Can you hold on?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. my my number 4 is Machu Picchu, and I believe it's Peru, right?
Yeah,
I've
Yes,
never
yes.
been. Keith's been to Peru.
I had the option of going to Machu Picchu, but we just stayed in the rainforest instead of going an extra week.
You want to talk about history? That's like totally separate from any other history. That kind of culture in South America is really unique and impressive looking. I mean, it's on a mountainside. There's just got all these old ruins sitting there, and it looks gorgeous. And I love mountains, so that's
This
right
would
up
be
my alley.
a hard trip for you, though.
The food, I die,
Yeah.
but that goes for pretty much all of Asia too,
Yeah.
and Africa. So
Yeah.
what
So
you
you're
gonna do?
just going to Italy.
That's right, and London, back and forth. All right, Keith.
My next one is the same as Anna's again.
Wow.
We're both going to say Bali.
What is Bali?
Bali,
What is it?
Indonesia.
Yeah.
It's an island.
I think it's an island.
Well, I mean, Bali's not an
Indonesia
It has
is
the
a
tallest
series of
building
islands,
in
so
the
it's got to be
world.
somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
it's in the middle of
Is
an
it
island.
okay.
It's kind of a free thinking area. It's extremely tourist based, but there's a lot of great yoga, a lot of great vegan food. It's beautiful. It's nature, as my other two have been. We had a friend who went there. I've had two friends go on tours of Bali, and it's just beautiful jungle, wetland. They serve almost everything as raw vegan food, and
At least the place that we were thinking about.
yeah, the place that we were thinking about. They're very thoughtful about being environmentally friendly. There are no straws. Recycling is a must. Everything like that. It just seems like a very forward-thinking place to be.
Right up your alley.
Yeah.
What about you,
I
Anna?
don't remember him saying all that. That's
You did.
good to know.
You said all that and more.
What did you say?
So you disagree with all those reasons for why you want to go to Bali?
No, I just forgot that he said all that because I was focused on the yoga part that he was talking about when he went.
We should go on a yoga retreat, Anna.
To Bali, you can go to the
We
red,
could.
the yoga barn.
Teaching a 200 something.
Let's
something
do one
like that.
together.
Save it for after the podcast.
Okay.
all right?
Sorry, guys.
Is
But
it
yeah.
me?
Anna
Oh, yeah.
shared that with Keith, so yes.
You're up.
I said Germany. I have a very strange interest in the Holocaust.
She loves killing Jews.
No, I don't.
Literally.
I would love to go to the museums that they have there. All of the, I know you can visit some of the concentration camps. It's just be very strange to see them, but
Mhm.
also very interesting.
Very powerful.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I've
This
heard
is
that. It's
destruction. This is awful.
really emotional experience, and I'm all about emotions.
Goodness
So,
gracious. Listeners,
cry a
she
lot.
is.
So I just think it would be really interesting to see.
Okay. I almost had Germany, but I took it off.
You didn't want to be too much like me.
Correct. Number 3, Niagara Falls. It is a lot of water, and I like water, and
Me
it looks
too.
really pretty. So I want to go there. Jim and Pam got married there, and that's fun. And shout out to the office. Shout out to Ivy. And at the end of the day, that's my number 3.
Okay.
Keith and Anna, still sharing?
My next one I think is different than Anna's.
Ooh.
It is Scotland. Do you have Scotland on yours?
I don't.
Okay, well we are set different in that way. Sims is a Scottish last name, and that is my last name, Sims. For everybody, Forbes already dropped that ball.
Yeah,
earlier.
sorry about that, guys.
It's a place of my ancestors, a beautiful country. So I've seen in Braveheart.
Favorite movie.
And it's just a place I've always wanted to go see. The castles, the land, the hills, everything about it. It's just a beautiful place. I've always, since I watched Braveheart 25 times or how many times I've watched it, just really, really enjoyed. So
Yeah, I'd love to go to Scotland too, for sure. Anna,
My next one is Amsterdam because
y'all smoke that
yes,
weed.
Forbes. I'm just kidding.
No, we don't.
So my parents have gone, and my sisters, and they said it was just incredible. Everybody rides their bike, like women in dresses wear their bikes. They don't even have helmets on. Like it's just everyone rides them, and it's just the culture there. They're so progressive about everything, and it's so obvious to me. I don't know why we aren't like that, but
We're a little bigger. It's hard to change.
yeah, that's true. But I want to go. I just want to see what all the hustle and bustle is about over there. Sounds fantastic from what I've heard.
And it looks awesome.
Yeah,
My
it
mom's
does.
been, and it does look gorgeous.
Has she really?
Yeah. She went to run a marathon there, actually,
Wow,
weirdly enough. But that was cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, she used to be way cooler, I think. Yeah. Yes, Courtney?
Did you see me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What'd you do?
Anyway, I'm marking off one of mine. It was India, but I just don't really think I would like it there because I've said all this stuff about how I don't like crowds. Forbes
Very
tells
crowded.
me it's really crowded, and I just really want to see if he's lying.
It's very
for myself.
overpopulated.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
a lot of it depends on which part you go to. 'Cause
Of course.
Yeah.
India's like there are a lot of different parts of India that are completely different than every other part. Like southern Indian food is the polar opposite of northern Indian food. So.
I just don't know if I would like it.
A lack of electricity is gonna hurt. It's
Right,
really
not
spicy
really
food. Your
great.
husband would die.
Right, and it'll make my tummy hurt. So I'm gonna say my last one.
Okay, what you got?
Israel.
Israel.
Yes. I just think it would be as basic as it is. Really cool to see and walk where Jesus walked and did his teaching and his ministry and
Yeah.
just all of that.
Religious history.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's very interesting, but we can't go. Forbes tells me because it's dangerous.
We can go.
Okay, let's go there on our trip.
Nah, I'm busy. So do you have anything you want to replace your missing one with? Or are you going to think of it while we go around?
Sure.
Okay. My number 2 is Wellington, New Zealand. And I've been to New Zealand. I've been to Australia. New Zealand is beautiful. It's the most beautiful place in the world. I have no doubt about it. But more importantly, it's where they filmed Lord of the Rings, and it is Middle Earth. And I want to walk the path of the ring real bad. And I want to hike it all, and I want to live it. And so that's my pick. I think it's gorgeous. I think it would really touch my heart because I love Lord of the Rings so much.
Good one. My number 1 is Amsterdam as well. I'm gonna do, since Anna already said all the reasons I want to go there. Can I say that they bike a whole lot?
Yeah.
Is probably my number 1, and they use what they need, and they don't have a lot of clutter in there and around the city and everywhere. So we hear from Anna's family. But I'm gonna give an honorable mention to the tar sands up in Alberta, Canada. That's where the Keystone Pipeline is being fracked, where they're fracking all of the all the land up there, and they're expanding it, and the Keystone Pipeline is supposed to go from there. The tar sands all the way down to the Gulf in Texas. And I just read a book called Trespassing Across America, and he trespasses the entire way. And it just seems so cool that he could look what he thought was evil in the face. It didn't even look evil to him. It was just a land, and everything he had to say about it was really cool. So, honorable mention to see what I want to fight. See what I think is evil. I think that the oil industry and the gas industry, natural gas industry, is evil in a lot of ways, just because of greed, human greed. And I think I'd like to see that, look that in the eye, and see what I'm actually railing against. So.
Okay, good pick.
My last one is maybe a basic white girl, but I want to go to California. I've been to California in several different cities, but I loved all the cities that I went to except for Eureka, which is like
Eureka.
Just we stopped to get gas basically. But we went to Sacramento and San Fran, and it was just the redwoods, and I just love the West Coast. There's something about it to me that's so awesome, and I love the weather. It's just my kind of weather, and I just feel so. I've always had like dreams about it, and just wanting to go there and live there and be there. So I just kind of want to traipse all around it.
The culture fits you better.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. Then,
I just need to get out there.
yeah.
Bye, Anna.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hope you find your dad. Thanks, Mr. Narwhal.
I chose Antarctica.
Ooh, it's gonna be cold.
Yeah, real cold. So I didn't really even know until a couple months ago that you could actually go to Antarctica unless you were doing like research, or
You can or you can't.
you
Can.
Like I thought you couldn't unless you were doing research
Wow.
and things like that. But you can. So you take this like super long flight to the most southern tip of South America, and then
Whoa.
it's a pretty short cruise to get there. But the cruises are stupid expensive, and there's only usually about 100 people on them.
There's a lot of icebergs to hit.
They say it's pretty safe,
Titanic
but
style.
I just think that's my like dream vacation. I think it would be really cool
That's
to
so
see
cool.
Antarctica, especially because I didn't think that it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I got.
My last pick, Ireland / Scotland, really. I mean, both are the land of my ancestors, as Keith mentioned earlier.
Redheads like my brother's sister, Ivy Flynn. All
Yeah.
that.
Shout out to Ivy. But
All redheads, even.
it's gorgeous. We already talked about it, and that's pretty much where my family history is from. So there's not much more to say. They speak English. I like that
We're good.
because I don't speak anything else. And we are probably going to Ireland soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see. Anything else y'all want to talk about today, or you want to close it up?
Close it up.
We hit everything that I was thinking about.
Me too.
Same.
All right.
Thanks for having us as always.
It's always a pleasure
Hope
to
we
have
don't
y'all.
get fired for our terrible opinions.
They're great opinions.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us finally, Courtney. And as always, this is Opinions on Everything. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next week.